So I've been doing an audit on my LinkedIn. You may have seen in one of my previous videos, I spoke about the importance of doing an audit on your LinkedIn and then really looking through to see who are your actual buyers, right? Because you could be someone like me who's been posting or had LinkedIn since 2015. And I started intentionally posting in 2024. But then throughout the years, I've been connected with so many different people. And I realized that a lot of them I haven't even had a conversation with. I don't even know who they are. And really what I'm looking to do now is to be incredibly intentional with my connections. I want quality connections. I want to be able to build strategic partnerships with many people, and I want to be able to help people on their journey as well as seeing if they are able to support and help me on my journey as well. I'm all about the idea of mutual benefits, and when you're working together, you grow together. And I realized that as far as my sort of LinkedIn was concerned, there was a lot of people who I just never connected with. I don't know who they are or why they're particularly of use to me if we're keeping it real, like in that sense of things, because it's easy to just connect with everyone, and then you just decide not to speak to anyone. But you have to be connecting with people. And from when I was doing that and I was kind of looking through the list and seeing sort of how life has been really when you think of it, because arguably from 2015 to 2026, over a decade in, right, there's so many things I thought that I wanted, or there were so many sort of jobs or roles that I thought that I was aspiring to achieve, right? And I would like to, I would say that I've lived many lives. I've lived many lives in terms of how I got to here today. Like I've had many sort of aspirations from when I was young. With my earliest one being a athlete, I was very much into sprinting when I was younger. I was involved in like the London Youth Games and all those sort of things as well. I had many different medals of my accomplishments. 100-meter sprint was my thing. 100 meters, 200 meters. I did a bit of shot put as well. And then ultimately, I just decided that I didn't want to do it anymore. I just moved on to something else. And then throughout that time, then it got to the idea of wanting to be a music journalist. If you've checked out my previous content, being a music journalist was something that I was doing in the meantime. And then it slowly started to be a thing where I just felt burnt out and I just felt like I couldn't do it anymore, to be fair. And I wanted to be involved in like the marketing side of music as well, but it just didn't come into fruition, right? Then it went into the side of sort of the PR space, right? So that's where a lot of my sort of experiences lie, from the elements of PR. So I went and navigated the industry. I've been in the PR industry almost a decade now. And with it being that, it was a case of learning and growing over time as well. And the skills I've learned has helped me immensely to get to this stage where I'm at now. And initially, my aspirations, I just wanted to be as high up the sort of food chain as possible, managing director, whatever the case. That was me. I was aspiring to do that. But then over the years, I just kind of thought that it doesn't align with me any longer. It doesn't make sense. And what aligns with me now is building my brand and turning it into a seven-figure brand through my own agency and through a community of B2B experts and service operators looking to build that level of visibility and credibility as well, is something that I have been focused on since 2024 July. And I'm still going, and being able to produce that content as well has really allowed me to really think introspectively about life and how I've been able to get from where my previous experiences were to today. So in this video, I just wanted to kind of really talk more about the past, the present, and the future of brand authority. And the reason why I wanted to cover it like this is because you have to bear in mind those are sort of the three most important areas within your life, right? And when you understand and learn how to incorporate the past, the present, and the future within your narrative and your messaging, and how you are able to put your story together in a way that's compelling and that makes people understand where you've been, where you are, and where you're going, that is super effective. So if we start with the past, right? And with the past, I want you to sort of think about the turning points in your life. A lot of the times, as an exercise I would do with clients, I would say, go back to your earliest memory, like grab a pen and a paper and take yourself down all the way back to your earliest memory when you felt that there was a shift in your mentality. Whatever it was, it could be good or it could be bad or it could be somewhere in the middle, right? It doesn't matter. What is that first earliest memory that you can think about where it kind of changed your sort of mindset or your mind frame or any of those particular sort of feelings based on that particular thing that happened, right? And then I would then say, now that you have your earliest memory of when that happened, now list them all out based on order of events from what you can remember from your earliest memory to your present memory of anything that's happened in your life that's shifted your mindset. It could be absolutely anything. It could be something from getting a job that you didn't think that you would be able to get. It could be, you know, going through and passing the test that you didn't feel like you could pass. Like it could literally be anything. But the whole point of that exercise is that once you've listed down all of those said things that you feel has changed your life, you then next to it write what was the lesson that you learned from that particular moment, right? What was that lesson? And when you list it down and you literally can see your whole sort of lifespan based on life altering or life changing or life defining moments in your life, you are then now in a position where you can see what were the main things within your lifetime that has effectively given you the mindset and the mentality that you have now, right? And when you have been able to now use that list of all those particular things, you can now reinforce that within your messaging and within that content through your personal brand for people to then understand where you were, right? Where you were during that time. What was you struggling with? What were you suffering from? What were the particular issues that you had that you felt was blocking you from doing anything? For example, content. My example, per se, when I was very young, I used to do speech therapy. And funny enough, with those sort of things, it's always interesting when you look back at certain things and you see how you were able to navigate now, because I went from someone who was very sort of shy to speak or very much introverted to speak in that sense. I wasn't really forthcoming to now getting in a position where I do this for a living now, you could argue. I do it for a living. I do it because I have a message to share and it aligns with everything that I believe in and everything that I plan to do in the near future. So it just makes the most sense to speak and to learn to speak and to improve on my level of communication as well. And I always said that I definitely want to be doing more sort of boot camps and training to improve as well, because communication is so important. And I do get a lot of support saying that people check out my content, it's great, they understand me and all that sort of stuff. But you can always improve, right? You can always improve and get better over time. But the whole point of that is me having an understanding of how I didn't have that much confidence in my level of communication. But then I proved to myself through the process of repetition and improving and listening to podcasts and listening to other people speak, inspiring people at that, and then incorporating that into the idea of things as well is something that I have been able to implement within my brand of what it means to have perseverance and to keep going no matter what. And if someone says something that doesn't line up with the mission, keep going anyway. It's not meant for you. That's the level of mentality from my own personal list that I developed for myself to understand where I was, to understand all the particular parts of my life that I knew that I needed to either fix or I need to double down on to get to this position where I'm at now, right? So that's what I want you to do based on the element of looking at your past in order to then refine those particular messaging for what will be available for you to incorporate today and for the foreseeable future. And when we talk about the present for brand authority, right? We covered the past. Let's talk about the present. The present is where you vocalize and you document the journey. You allow people into your ecosystem based on you being able to share the lessons that you learned from your past. And you doing that, right, will make people naturally gravitate towards you because everyone has a past, right? Everyone has a past, and you don't know who is listening or who is watching your content to understand, to think, you know what, I can relate to that. That is something that I've been through. That's something that I feel that is something I've been working on getting over myself, and this person seems to have done it. Those are the things that you vocalize in that present time, right? And in that present time, the present time is the key moment for documentation. I repeat, it is the key moment for documentation because that is the moment in your life where you are in the present and you are building towards your future. You're using your past as energy and fuel to reinforce into your narrative and your messaging as to why you are doing the things that you are doing. And you are documenting the process in the present as you are showcasing who you are, why you're the obvious choice, right? The expertise you have, what you stand for, what you don't stand for, and all of the reasons as to what brought you to this particular moment in time. I talk about it all the time. I would not have been on YouTube producing said content, daily long form YouTube content, right? Had it not been for me leaving my job and skydiving the next day and realizing that there were so many things I was scared and frightened of for no particular reason apart from what was in my head, thinking that the way of going about life is just the way that we all have to go through it. And then it was like something clicked for me when I realized that there's more to life. And it's in my best interest to be the person that can dictate my future rather than letting other people dictate it. And it may seem like a lonely road in the process of doing so, but when you have that much confidence within yourself, knowing that you never had it to begin with at the start, that is the thing that you bear in mind and you reinforce that into all of the work that you do. And you always end up remembering what that why is. And I think the why really plays a part into what keeps you going in the present time. It always comes down to the why. What is your why? Why are you doing these things? Why are you building a business? Why are you building a brand? Why are you waking up every morning to do this job? What is it? What is the why? That why is something that will keep you grounded within the present, that will allow you to focus on what is future facing for yourself, right? And then lastly, if we cover the future of brand authority, right? What is it that you are saying is going to happen? What are you putting out in the world that you are going to achieve and what you are going to do as a result of you being this person that you are, as a result of you building your brand in public? For me, I talk a lot I talk about a lot about the personal branding deadline, right? The 30th of November 2027. I say it in practically every video because I have to, because not many people are understanding what is at stake right now with the rise of AI and the amount of content that everyone is able to churn out on a max level. There's going to be a sea of sameness. And with that, there is not going to be many people that will have that level of credibility So those are the two areas. Your visibility and your credibility are extremely important. That is why I devised the phases brand authority system to really lock in on what it means to be able for you to get that level of visibility and credibility through PR, being the thing that really shifts the needle and really changes your reputation and enhances your reputation, in fact, in order for you to get to where you need to get to in this lifetime. That's why I developed it. That is something in the future that is happening, that will be happening. I speak about it all the time, but I always talk about it from the positioning of you need to really focus on doing what you can to build your brand and take it to the level that it needs to be at before the ship sails, right? That's the reason why I talk about that all the time. And alongside that, with me documenting, I talk about the fact that I am dropping one long form video every day for 1,000 days, documenting the journey of building a 7-figure brand, right? That is me speaking that into existence and taking you on the journey, right? I've taken you on the journey on the basis that you now hear about what are the things that has inspired me and motivated me in my past, that has allowed me to use that as fuel and motivation for the content and the documentation that I'm doing for the present. And then I am now speaking into existence all the things that I am looking to achieve in the future off the back of all of the lessons that I have managed to accumulate through those years, right? And that is how you need to start looking at the story and the narrative of your brand if you are looking to scale and if you're looking to turn it into something profitable, because you cannot disregard the process. You can't disregard your past thinking that you're going to be able to have anything to talk about in your present, right? And you can't disregard the future and not speak these things into existence thinking you're going to get anywhere, and then you're just stuck in the present, not having no ambition, no goal, no motivation. What are we doing? You need to focus on the past, the present, and the future, and adopt that into your narrative and your messaging in a way that will continue to enhance your brand for years to come, right? It's important. And at every stage, there's going to be new lessons you need to learn. I already told you about the idea of documenting your wins, your losses slash lessons, because not every loss is a loss. There's a lesson in that, and your highlights. You doing that and documenting that process is that motivation and that fuel that you will then reinforce every single time, right? I document so much stuff. I have stuff from 2024 when I started this journey to today that I can continue to reinforce into the objectives and the missions as to why I'm doing this. That's why when people will look at me and they think I'm mad or I'm crazy because I'm posting said content, maybe so, but it's only because I've realized and I understood through the idea of PR and also my love for storytelling and the idea of messaging and communications and your narrative and your story is, if you are able to build a compelling story that aligns with the whole process of your life from the past and the present to the future, you can never lose. You can never lose. You've been forthcoming to share your lessons and your mistakes with people that happened in your past. You are able to now guide people in your present and able to showcase what you are doing in real time to show that level of authenticity. And you are taking things one step further by talking into existence the future successes that you'll be able to achieve based on that. And you know what I think about being able to reverse engineer. When you start thinking like that and you reverse engineer the process, you build a strategy and a map for yourself, and then you work to a T to make sure that it gets done. And you follow that journey. And like I said, you follow that journey through and through. There may be some good feedback on the way. Good. Take it with a pinch of salt. Move on. There may be some bad feedback. Cool. Update it. Update the feedback. If the feedback is valid, pull it in the middle, neutral. Keep it going. Move on. That is it. Ultimately. So that's it for this video. Let me know if this video has helped, and let me know if you'll be looking to really develop and refine your narrative, looking at your past, your present, and your future in order to build that revenue generating brand. And if you have any questions or anything you would like to say in the comments, let me know. And if you really want support and help to carve out that story, then that's what I'm here for. Please book and apply for a Phaser's brand authority clarity call if this stuff interests you. And I'll be more than happy to have a chat and to see where I can help you, right? But on that note, that's it from me. Peace out, look after yourself, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out, look after.